In this video, we are going to explore the resources configuration of pygeoapi. Resources is without the doubt one of the most important thing in pygeoapi because all the data sets or processes that you want to add in your pygeoapi has to be added under resources. By default, if you head over to your pygeoapi configuration, you will see multiple resources available under resources tab such as this OBS, lakes, map server, GDPS temperature, test data, Canada metadata and hello world. These are all resources which we are actually exposing with our pygeoapi instance. Now at this point of time there are three major types of resources available. First is collection, second is process and third is stack collection. Collection actually talks about OGC API features, tiles, coverages, EDR, etc. Processes talks about OGC API processes and stack collection talks about spatio-temporal asset catalog collections. Under collections and stack collections, we have various numbers of providers. These providers are categorized as feature, coverage, tile and stack in case of stack collection. Now if you scroll down, you will see various options that we can pass while creating a resource. We will have a brief look at all of these options, and in the upcoming videos where we will talk about each one of these types of providers and resources, we will have a greater depth of understanding of these things. So by default there is this resource available known as OBS, which is of type collection. So it is not process or stack, it is a collection, and we have defined visibility as default. Visibility plays vital role in order for us to show or hide our resource in the collections API. Then we have title, description and keywords, which are human readable data. Then we have linked data. This is an optional configuration that you can give to pass a structured data with your resource. Next is links. You can add n number of metadata links to this particular resource. The mandatory things are type, the relation and the href. Then next we have is extent, where you can set the geometrical as well as temporal extent of your data. So in terms of geometry, you can give things such as bounding box and the coordinate system. While in temporal, you can give the date time of when the data will start and when the data will end. Then we have list of providers, and as I said, there are various providers available and we can always create our new providers as well. We will have a separate video about it where I will talk about how we can create our new provider for a given use case. In this particular case of OBS resource, we are using a CSV file where we have given different configuration, and of course depending upon the type of data or the type of provider, the configuration options will be different. Finally, we also have this hello world as one of the resource, which in fact is a process. If you head over to your configuration file in pygeoapi, you will see these different resources available such as stack collection, the collection where the provider is coverage, the collection where provider is GeoJSON, and collection where provider is CSV. So as you can see, pygeoapi supports a lot of different files by default. Now if you want to understand what all things are supported at any given point in time in pygeoapi, you can head over to this particular data publishing tab under documentation, and you can have a look at all of these different providers. For example, in case of exposing vector data to OGC API features, these are all different providers available, and as you can see, the list is quite big, but not only restricted to this. You can always create new provider for your own use case, and pygeoapi core team is also dedicated on adding new providers every now and then. Then if you want to publish your raster data as coverage, you can have your data either in raster.io or in xarray. Or if you want to publish your maps as a OGC API maps, your data can be in MapScript or in WMS facade. Then we have publishing tiles, where your data can be generated using MVT Tippecanoe, or it can be generated on the fly with MVT Elasticsearch. Then we have publishing metadata as OGC API records, and we can have our provider as Elasticsearch or TinyDB or CSW Facade. Then we have EDR. So pygeoapi also supports X-array EDR as a provider. And finally, we have a spatiotemporal asset catalog, which is a stack collection. So these are all different providers and collections and stack collections and processes available for pygeoapi to be plugged in by default. Now to understand more about these resources, you can start by making some changes into it, such as simply making a change in the title. Let's say observation edited, and now if I generate my OpenAPI spec document one more time, I can simply serve pygeoapi again, and now if I go back to my collections, you will see that the title has been changed to observations edited. I can also see the same effect in my JSON file. So just like that, you can keep on adding more metadata as well. So for example, now if we go back to our OBS and look for the metadata information, so we can actually have a look at it under JSON, and you will see that under links we have this canonical and alternate links which are coming from over here. So I can simply copy this and I can add it one more time, and I'll try to make some basic change into it, such as custom link, and I will give link to something like this. I'm just trying to show you an example. Of course, it will not make any sense to put this link over here, but I'm just trying to show you how exactly you can add more metadata links. I will again generate my document and serve pygeoapi, and now if we refresh this, you will see one more link is added over here. Just like that, we can change the extent, and we can obviously change the provider as well. Thank you for watching this video. From next video, we will have a look at each of these collections and providers in greater depth. Thank you.